What's good guys, Respawn Protocol here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a complete strategy for making your first 10k profit online in just 6 months. And this strategy was the exact same one I used as a complete beginner that had never made a single penny of profit online before. I'm going to break down my step-by-step system to follow and also give you some secret tips and tricks to easily find deals and maximize your profits. And the best part about this strategy, you don't need much money or any learning up front to get started. After you finish this video, you'll literally be able to go out today and start printing money. So let's not waste any more time, lads. Let's get straight into it and turn on the money machine. So before we get into this strategy today, I just want to start off by saying that making 10k online with this side hustle is super simple. And for the longest time, I just overcomplicated everything and put barriers up in my head. And what I realized over time is no matter how successful somebody is, they all started in the same place and they all had no idea what to do. What separates the successful people from the non-successful people is they take action, okay? So today, once you've learned all of these super clever strategies, I want you to take massive action, okay? And I want you to start getting going with the side hustle because honestly, it's so simple that literally a 10-year-old could do it. So let's get to the side hustle and break down the precise strategy I used and the same one that you can do to start generating cash today. The side hustle that I'm going to start talking about today is flipping. And if you're not familiar with what flipping is, it's when you buy an item to sell it for a higher price to somebody else. And guys, I'm not joking, this side hustle is just making money on easy mode. So there's so many different ways you can actually start flipping, but I'm going to break down to you now exactly how I went about printing money from flipping. So for someone that's never really had a side hustle or a business, making 10k seems quite daunting. When you start breaking down the numbers, it's actually super simple. So let me break down the exact figures and the system that I made for making 10k online in easy mode. So the best way to make the money in flipping in the shortest space of time is going to be going after high ticket items. And what I mean by this is items that sell for at least £70 or around $90 to $100. And the reason that we target this minimum sell price is actually quite simple. Let's say we wanted to make 10k profit in 6 months, okay? That's our goal. Well, if we had an average sell price of £20 and an average profit per item of around £5, we would need to flip around 2,000 items in the space of 6 months to make a 10k profit. And that equates to around 11 sales a day, if my maths is right. Now, this is going to take a lot of time and effort to achieve, especially if you're doing this alongside a job or you just don't have that much spare time. But if we set our minimum sell price to £70 and we make £20 profit, we now only need to sell 500 items in the space of 6 months. And that's super achievable, guys. That's around 2.7 items a day. And realistically, £70 is just your base sell price. So your average sell price will naturally end up higher, probably being around £80, £90 from my experience. And with those numbers, you only really need to be selling 2 items a day on average. So people see 10k as a big sum of money. And, you know, for an individual, it is. But when you're talking in business terms and side hustle terms, 10k is just a drop in the ocean, guys. And with my strategy, you're going to make 10k profit selling just an average of 2 to 2.5 items per day. That's how easy this is. So what are the items that we're actually going to be selling to make this profit? Where are we going to buy them and where are we going to sell them? And when it comes to product sourcing, the most popular high-ticket item products are consoles and games, sporting equipment, cameras, and branded clothing. These are like the core strategies and core categories, if you like, that I see people flipping in. But for me, the category I use, and personally the category I think is the best, is game consoles and games. And I absolutely love this category because the volume of new sales going up is super high. And also in Q4, so around that Christmas time, this category and niche is just going to go absolutely crazy. And you're going to be able to make an absolute mint in a very short space of time. And with some of the tips and tricks I'm going to give you very shortly, you're going to squeeze out every last inch of profit out of this hustle as humanly possible. So make sure you stick around for these tips and tricks. So in terms of where you buy and sell the consoles, it's actually a super simple strategy. Around 60% of my purchases would come from places like Facebook Marketplace, and the other 40% was a combination of places like Gumtree, eBay, Vinted, and other online platforms. And all these platforms are absolutely rife with opportunity to make profit, guys, honestly. So what I suggest you to do, and this is exactly what I did, is every 15 to 30 minutes of the day, I go on these platforms, I'd filter by new listed, I'd put the proximity from around 10 to 15 kilometers from my home, and I just start looking at, you know, the listings going up and seeing if there was any potential to make profit. And in terms of how I made the assessment of whether there was any profit opportunity, this is also super simple. So once a console's got listed, the best piece of advice I can give you is don't just look at the listing at face value, okay? So don't just focus on how much the console's worth by itself. Instead, you want to be looking at everything that's offered in the listing, okay? Because a lot of these listings, they're going to be putting up controllers with it, they're going to be putting up games with it, and that's where a lot of the profit opportunity is actually going to come from, okay? So, yeah, I mean, if there's no controllers or games on the listing, don't worry about it, guys. What you're going to do is just contact the seller, and you're just going to ask them if they do have any games or pads lying around. Because from my experience, most of the time, if they do have a console, they will have these controllers and they will have these games lying around. And most of the time, they'll be happy to chuck them in for absolutely nothing, okay? And these controllers and the pads are really going to maximize our profits, and they're going to increase the amount of listings that we can actually make money from, okay? Because the thing is, guys, with controllers for like Xboxes and PlayStations, these are still worth like 15 to 14 pound, depending on what console it actually is. And the games, there's still some games even from like the PS2 era that are selling for like 30, 40 pound online, guys, because there's not many copies of them around anymore. So, you know, people are willing to pay top dollar for it. So what at face value may look like a listing for a console that's just worth £60, that can quickly turn into plus £100 when you factor in the things like the pads and the games, okay? And yeah, like I said, most of these people will literally give you these add-ons for absolutely nothing. So a lot of the times I kind of look at a listing, I'd look at the console, and at face value it'd look like I would break even on the console if I bought it and sold it on another platform, okay? But if you dig a bit deeper and you look at the controllers and the pads and the other accessories that are added, this is actually where I'd make a lot of the profit from these transactions. So from this point, if I knew I could make a profit from the listing, from the total value of the listing, that's where I contact the seller and start negotiating. And honestly, guys, it's the easiest money you'll ever make. But you're probably asking yourself now, well, how do I even value these things in the first place? Well, again, that's super simple, guys. All I do is I'd see a listing. Let's say there was like a PS5, 2 controllers and a few games. I would just go on eBay, I'd go on the most recently sold listings for that console, for those pads, for those games, and I would just total up the raw value, okay? And then I would total up that raw value and weigh it against what the actual seller is charging for that listing, okay? And you know, you'd be staggered how many of these listings there is an opportunity to make profit on, okay? Like I was sourcing like 3 to 5 deals some day, and I couldn't even get enough time in the day to actually go out and get all these consoles. Like that's how much opportunity there was, okay? And I'm going to give you another crucial tip in a second for making even more profit, so make sure you stay locked in. So the truth is, guys, the opportunity on these platforms and in this category is just absolutely rife. And the reason is, I think, is because the average person these days is so lazy that even though they know they could probably make 20 to 30 pound more for the console and the games if they just did it themselves, they just want a quick and frictionless sale, guys. And they're more than happy for you to make 20 to 30 pound profit instead of them, so they can quickly kind of get that console gone and have someone pick it up from their door, okay? And they'll be willing to drop the price to let you make a profit just to get their time and convenience back. And you shouldn't be afraid to haggle, guys, okay? So from my experience, 80% of the time, let's say a listing went up for £50. If you tried to take that price down by around 15 to 20%, I would say that 80% of the time they will accept this, okay? So that's a great way to enhance your margins even more and extract as much profit as possible, okay? And yeah, this is literally the strategy I use, guys. It flipping within 6 months, I made like 10k profit, and it's so simple. It's nothing glorious. It's just good old-fashioned consistent work. And I'm so grateful that I did this side hustle, guys, because more than the money that I made, it equipped me with some absolute invaluable skills that prepared me for more difficult business ventures down the line. So, you know, flipping taught me how to deal source, how to negotiate, how to sell online, and it got me familiar with holding inventory and thinking more like a business owner. And I'm so grateful to myself that I did this side hustle, because, you know, if I didn't, I think I'd still be in my 9-to-5 job completely depressed and miserable. And picking up these basic yet effective side hustles on the side of my main income helped me build up my business confidence, and it gave me belief in myself and also some heavy ammunition to go out and invest in the markets and get an even better return on investment from that profit. And after around 6 months of flipping, that's when I started actually moving up and scaling higher with Amazon FBA, which is a different and more scalable way of flipping. And if you want me to do a video on Amazon FBA, guys, just drop me a comment and, you know, I'll get to that for you. No worries at all. And, you know, this is how compounding works, guys. You start with small side hustles, you gain small wins, small pieces of momentum, and then you just scale it up from there. And within the space of a year or two, you'll be a completely different guy financially and mentally. So guys, I'm not joking, this may sound hard to believe, but that is literally the whole strategy that I use. It is simple as that, okay? I don't even need to go into any further depth. You're going to go on Facebook Marketplace, Vinted, you're going to go on Gumtree, you're going to look for consoles. When you see new listings, you're going to go on eBay, you're going to look at the sold prices, and you're going to look for some profit, and you'll be absolutely baffled by how easy it is to make money here, guys. Like, you should be sourcing multiple deals a day if you just stay consistent with it, okay? It's nothing complicated. You just need to start making massive action today, turning up every single day, and with this side hustle, guys, profit is literally guaranteed. But I do just want to give you one last piece of advice, guys, okay, before I wrap up this video. And, I preach on my channel about the massive importance of not scaling out your outgoings as your money increases from that side hustle, okay? So don't waste your hard-earned profits on stuff that literally does nothing for your life. It's just a complete consumer trap that's being created to keep you dependent and keep you poor in the rat race. As soon as you reject it and you commit to frugality and self-discipline with your money, you'll find that escape route and financial freedom that you've always been looking for. So guys, if you've enjoyed this video, can you please leave a comment on the video and let me know that you're going to start taking massive action today, okay? I've linked my email in the description, so if you guys want to reach out or you want any further information about these side hustles or any advice or anything, then I'm more than happy to help you guys, okay? Thank you guys, I hope you found value in this video today, and until the next one, peace out.